Okay, you ready for this? We're diving into something truly wild. A minivan with a Hellcat engine. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about a YouTuber named Rich who's decided to cram a Hellcat engine, the one from the Dodge Challenger Hellcat, into a Chrysler Town and Country minivan.
Um, what's wild is this isn't just some backyard, uh, you know, backyard engine swap. Rich is using the Charger's entire chassis and powertrain, which takes this project to a whole other level of complexity.
It's like Frankenstein's
Yeah.
monster of automotive engineering, and I am here for it. But before we get into all that, let's break down why he chose this specific minivan for such a crazy build.
Well, the Chrysler Town and Country might seem like an odd choice.
Yeah.
It actually makes a lot of sense. First, they're incredibly cheap and easy to find. Think bargain bin prices, which leaves more budget for the fun stuff.
Yeah, the article mentions he picked one up for something like $600. That's less than a monthly payment on some new cars.
Exactly. And the Town and Country's boxy, unassuming design, it's perfect for creating a sleeper car, for those not familiar. A sleeper is a car that looks totally ordinary, but hides some serious performance under the hood.
It's the ultimate disguise. Nobody expects a minivan to be packing that kind of horsepower. So you're cruising along, soccer moms in their SUVs, none the wiser, and then bam, you hit the gas and leave them all in a cloud of tire smoke.
That's the beauty of it. And from an engineering perspective, the Town and Country has some advantages too. Rich mentions it's got this built-in wide body look. I mean, the body's already fairly wide, which helps accommodate the wider tires and suspension components needed for a high-performance build.
So it's practical and deceptive. Started to see why he went with the minivan. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Actually fitting a Hellcat engine into this thing, it's not exactly plug and play, is it?
Not even close. We're talking serious fabrication work here.
Yeah.
The article mentions modifying frame rails, which are the structural backbone of the vehicle. They're basically cutting and welding the frame to make space for the engine and transmission.
And I'm guessing they need to reinforce the chassis as well. The Hellcat engine pumps out over 700 horsepower. That's a lot of stress on a frame that wasn't designed for that kind of power.
Absolutely. They'll likely need to add additional bracing and supports throughout the chassis to handle the increased torque and power. Think of it like building a skyscraper. You need a strong foundation to support all that weight.
Okay, I'm officially impressed. This is way more than just dropping in a new engine. It's basically building a whole new car from the ground up.
Exactly. And the complexity doesn't stop there.
Hmm.
They're also trying to maintain some of the minivan's practicality. The article mentions they want to keep the sliding doors functional.
Wait, seriously, sliding doors A&D, a Hellcat engine? That's a level of commitment to the bit that I respect. But is that even possible?
Yeah. It'll be incredibly challenging. The Hellcat's exhaust system runs right where the sliding door mechanisms are typically located, so they'll need to get creative with routing the exhaust and potentially modifying the door mechanisms themselves.
Wow. That's going to require some serious engineering ingenuity. And speaking of challenges, the article mentions a whole laundry list of performance upgrades they're planning.
Yeah, they're talking about adding a roll cage,
Yeah.
sway bars,
Huh?
subframe reinforcements, all things that are essential for making a vehicle like this handle safely at high speeds.
So they're not just going for straight line speed. They actually want to make this minivan handle like a proper performance car. That's pretty ambitious, considering it started life as a family hauler.
It is. It requires a deep understanding of vehicle dynamics. They need to consider things like weight distribution, suspension geometry, and tire grip to ensure the minivan is stable and predictable, especially with all that extra horsepower.
It's like they're turning a grocery getter into a track day weapon. Which brings up another point. How much of the original minivan's practicality will be left when they're done?
That's a million-dollar question. It's a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they want to create this insane performance machine, but on the other hand, they're trying to retain some of the minivan's functionality. Like those sliding doors, it's a unique challenge, to say the least.
I can just imagine the look on people's faces when this minivan pulls up to a stoplight and then blasts off, leaving everyone in the dust. It's the ultimate sleeper.
It really is. It challenges our preconceived notions
Okay.
of what a minivan can be.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so fascinating about this project. It's not just about the technical achievements. It's about pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo.
It's like they're saying, who says a minivan can't be cool?
There are definitely trade-offs when you prioritize performance over practicality. But I think there's also something to be said for the sheer audacity of it. This build is a statement. It's a celebration of creativity and engineering ingenuity.
I get that. It's like a piece of performance art. It makes you think differently about what's possible with a car.
Exactly. And it sparks a conversation about the role of cars in our culture. Are they simply utilitarian tools for getting from point A to point B? Or can they be something more, a form of self-expression, a source of excitement, a challenge to the ordinary?
It's interesting how this build, which started as a crazy idea on the internet, has led us to these deeper questions about car culture and the pursuit of performance.
It highlights the power of DIY culture
Yeah.
and the accessibility of information and technology. With enough passion,
Hmm.
skill, and a healthy dose of internet inspiration, individuals can take on projects that were once reserved for professional shops.